Check out the blog.
And here's your host, Deb St.Hilaire.
Happy July 7th. Happy Chocolate Day. That's right, my friends. It's Chocolate Day. So, we're here at the Divalution, and we are having a lovely 1-2 punch Riesling. Has everybody tasted it yet?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, man, it is lovely. We have quite a few people here today. We're going to have Misty in the chat room.
Yes, I am.
And I will have the Facebook app open. I'm looking for my phone. It's not in my pocket. There it is. And yeah, it kind of snuck up on me. We had 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden we had none. We had none minutes. We have a really good guest here I'm going to tell you about in a little bit. If you would go to our Facebook page, you could meet her there and actually see her. Our call-in number, as usual, is 989-402-5414. If you have any questions for our guest or myself or Misty, you can call in, and Pat and Juliana are here too. You can call in on that number. We would like to wish a very happy birthday to our friend Sharon Parent, who is part of the Divalution Project. And we are going to be having a birthday celebration for our very own Misty. Woohoo! And you know who else's birthday it was over the weekend?
No, who's?
Diva Dude.
Josh's.
Yes, yes. So lots of birthdays this month. Not as many as in June, but when's your birthday, Tanya?
December 2nd.
December 2nd. Okay, so we have a ways to go. So as you recall, last week our guest was Greg Kimbrew. He was our guest host and our sponsor spotlight guy last week because he does both so well. And we talked all about wines, and I learned quite a bit. Very interesting, and you should probably go to Vino and ask for the Diva Deal wines. We have some new things that we're going to be talking to him about and some new things that we will talk about later in the show. Our theme for tonight is self-motivation and overcoming obstacles. And once you meet our guest, we could not have picked a better guest to talk about these things. Tanya Brown, she's an author, a blogger, a speaker. She's going to be one of the speakers featured at our October 10th event, A New View of You. And she is my accountability partner. And just a really cool person. Really cool person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Tanya Brown, tell us a little bit about you.
Wow, where do I start?
I don't know.
I don't either. Up until October 7th of last year, I was just your normal, everyday woman. Went to work, had a daughter, had a husband, had a house, and just tried to keep juggling everything to make it all work and take a vacation or two a year and, enjoy our family. And then on October 8th, I went in to have a medical procedure done, and I came out of that procedure a completely different person. It was discovered on October 13th, a few days later, that I had a spinal cord injury, or in fact, an edema inside of my spinal cord. In January, the end of January, I went down to the University of Michigan, who I give the most high props to. I mean, just fabulous physicians down there. And the neurology team that saw me actually diagnosed me with spinal cord syndrome, which is incredibly rare. There was one other case that's documented in the cervical or neck part of your spine. Unfortunately, the documentation was incomplete. So as far as treatment options, there was nothing. there was one other gentleman who had the same issue in the lumbar region, and all they said was years later it spontaneously healed. So whether the body absorbed it or whatever happened, who knows. I was open to everything and anything in order to get my life back as it was. I missed it. And so I did 2 months. I missed Thanksgiving dinner with my family because I was 5 days for 3-hour treatments to do basically the same type of a steroid treatment that an MS patient does. I told my neurologist I will not miss Christmas morning with my daughter. And so December started on the 26th. I was not noticing any changes. And so we started using something called HP Acthar gel, which is a little vial, and it's like $26,000 or $28,000, which was just amazing because I thought, wow, that's $10,000 more than I paid for my brand new Jeep Liberty.
Wow.
And it's a tiny little vial, and you keep it in your fridge, and then you warm it up in your hands, and then you stick yourself with it in the belly. And I think she was hoping through the steroid treatments and what I was doing at home that I would get some type of additional relief as far as the edema shrinking like it originally had done slightly when I was in the hospital for a couple of days when they first discovered the edema. Unfortunately, since I was discharged from the hospital on October 15th of 2014, there's been no change. So I have a leg, my right leg, that I have no feeling in. I fight edema in that leg constantly. My torso, the back of it, I have no feeling in. You could stick me with pins like doctors have, and it's the strangest thing to see a safety pin coming at your leg, and you don't even feel it. I mean, they could probably poke the whole thing in, and I nothing. I have toes I don't feel. So I've lost a ticklish foot.
What about the other one?
The other one's still pretty ticklish. Yeah, stay away on the left foot there. I'm lucky I'm left-handed. I still have full use of that hand. My right hand is showing signs of atrophy, which at some point when we get to the part of being able to address that, I can probably gain some of that muscle tone back. But it's really the least of my worries. My big thing is, learning to work through the grieving process. My blog is Goodbye Normal. And because my normal left one day, and I didn't ask it to leave. I never wanted my old life to really change. Yes, I was working on a master's degree to make a transition into a different career setting, but I didn't think that one day I'd be fine and the next I would not. And so it very much was like, some part of me had died. And so you cannot force time. Things happen in their own time. And I'm finally at the part, which is exciting. Tomorrow will be the 9-month mark since the occurrence of the injury. And I'm finally at the part where I haven't fully accepted what has happened, but I'm to the point where I'm excited about the future and what this injury has actually opened up for me. I'm just a hopeless optimist. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm just hopeless in general, I guess, in that I really truly believe that within everything that is handed to us, there is a light, there is a blessing, and it will be shown to us when we are supposed to see it.
And that is why you are my hero.
Thank you.
I really don't even know what to say.
Well, she and I, we were talking beforehand.
It was very hard on me just to listen to all the stuff that she had gone through, and there's nothing that I have had that was as horrendous that can be compared to something like that. So it's hard to go, where do you go after that? Where do you go? We were talking about tears in the showers, and we all do tears in the showers.
Right, yeah,
we just don't admit we do tears in the showers, and now we can admit we do tears in the showers together. So, yeah.
Tears in the shower, I think we had said, creates, this new bond of sisterhood. We are a culture of flat out weirdos. We're supposed to be strong and independent, and we're not supposed to think of ourselves before anyone else, because then you're self-centered and you're a horrible person. But we forget that we have to take care of ourselves, and that doesn't make us bad. That makes us whole. That actually makes us better. And more prepared to take care of those around us, our loved ones, our families, our friends, and even strangers that are in need. If we haven't properly cared for ourselves, we don't have the energy that we need in order to do those things, in order to fulfill our obligations properly. And so it was interesting because, when I said, I didn't want to necessarily always want to cry in front of my daughter, and somebody once said, you need to.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show her that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show her that crying in front of her is part of the process. And
Right.
I think that I had said to you that the tears actually are the water that feed the seeds of whatever that future is going to be. Whatever that bright spot is supposed to be.
Growth.
Yes, it's that chartered course that we don't actually know what it's going to be or what it's going to look like. But once we find it, how do I say, the switch just goes on, and your mind doesn't stop working. I mean, I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I have a journal on my bedstand, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and start scribbling stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
What to write about, what to include in a talk, what to say to anybody somewhere or whatever.
Me too. But you know what? I'm so happy I found Siri.
Yeah.
I don't have to turn lights on anymore.
I don't turn lights on. I just scribble and I figure it out in the morning. Because I'm very old school. I don't use my phone for a calendar. I still use a calendar, little planner. I like to see it, which is so weird for me. At 40, all of my peers are talking into their phones and everything's in their phone. And I think, well, what if something happens to your phone?
That's exactly why I do both. Yeah. That's right.
Your whole life's lost, buddy.
And I've seen people lose stuff. So you know what? We all go. I know exactly what you're saying by tears. When I was going through a divorce that I didn't want, I tried to hide it from my boys, and I cried in the bathtub.
Yep.
Well, they could hear me.
Absolutely.
But I was talking to my friend that's a therapist, and she told me they need to know that you're hurting, and they need to see you get stronger and over it. And it's the same exact thing, isn't it?
It is absolutely the same thing. Once I started to be honest and to be authentic in about my feelings and when I was angry or when I was sad. When I started to do that in front of my daughter, Jenna, I noticed a change in her behavior about her own anger. She was mad, because there was
part of her mom
there
changed.
was her able-bodied mom that could run down the street and play with her, and suddenly it hurts to hug mommy, and so we came up with, after she and I had talked, when she had seen me cry a couple times, that she could have bad word emergencies. And so she would periodically say, Mommy, I've got a bad word emergency. And I'd say, well, what is it? And she would say, well, I just think that this is stupid. And she'd think that was like the worst word. And then, of course, it progressed into other,
bad
words, that she had picked up along the way. And I'd say, okay, we're finished with that. But, she had feelings that needed
expression.
Yeah, she needed to be able to express them. And once she saw me do it freely, I think that she was able to do it and heal as well.
Yeah, that tears is also an expression that we have. So we have to remember that that's our expression, because that's about as deep as you can go. A tear is about as deep as you can go without words.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So how long did it take you from the time of this injury to when you realized that it opened up another door for you?
The injury was October 8th. And mid-January, I want to say, emailed my career counselor, fabulous woman. I think you've had her on the show a couple of times, Beth Bryce.
Yes.
I could sit here all day and just